Hello, this is a handover video for a Porsche 911 991 first generation GTS in carmine red. It is a 2014, so I hope you find this useful. If you have any questions, please contact me or drop a message in the comments. Thanks very much. Starting on the outside of the car, the front luggage compartment can be opened in one of two ways. You can either open it via the key by pressing and holding the button, or you can do it from inside the door shuts. There is a red catch underneath the very front of the bonnet, which when you slide across will release the bonnet upwards. Underneath the front luggage compartment you have your compressor and sealant and locking wheel, lock and towing eye behind those covers there, which you would just push your fingers into and pull out like so. You also have your warning triangle, and then underneath you have your windscreen washer fluid, which are located under here. Underneath here is your battery, which if you needed to remove, you would just pull out from this section here and from this section here, and the battery is located underneath. If the car has centre locking hubs like this one does, then under there you will also find your tool to be able to remove the wheel. If you needed to put a trickle charger and you wanted to use the battery, that would be where you could do it, or you could do it via the cigarette lighter from inside. When you put this particular cover back, just make sure that it lines up underneath here correctly, and that you roll the rubbers back here so that you've got a tight seal. To close the bonnet, put your hand on the badge and give it a firm push. The fuel filler cap opens and closes with the central locking being locked or unlocked. When the car is locked, it won't open. When the car is unlocked, it will spring open like so. The seat on this particular car is a four-way sport seat. So we have adjustment for the angle of the backrest, like so. We can also adjust the height of the seat by raising and lowering it from here. You'll also notice that on the front, just here, will be how you would move the seat forwards and backwards. We also have adjustment for the steering column, which on this particular car is underneath, just by the lever here, and then pull it up like so, and that will allow you to move the steering wheel both in and out as well as up and down. On the door arm of the car we have the adjustment for mirrors. If the car has electric folding mirrors, there will be a button here which allows you to fold them in, but you will select which mirror that you want to adjust and then use the cursor to adjust the mirror. And this is for the front and rear windows. If the car was a convertible, you'd also be able to operate the back windows from here as well. On the PCM system, we have a variety of features. On here you have your audio stations, which are preset by these buttons here and this touchscreen. We also have a station list, so if you wanted to view the station list a different way, you can do so by just merely scrolling up and down if you want. If you want to go back to the previous screen, this is your back arrow. On source, we can decide whether we want to play with AM, FM, digital radio, CD, jukebox and auxiliary. If the car has Bluetooth, then once you connect your phone, it will then give you auxiliary Bluetooth as well. The jukebox is the car's internal storage for music. Media, we can just select whether we want to go for CD, jukebox and auxiliary, and then we can go back to tuner if we wish. On sound, we can play around with the level of bass and treble. We can also change some of the acoustic options on here by pressing surround DAB. Telephone, if you have an iPhone, then you would need to go into settings and Bluetooth to make your phone discoverable. When you press find phone, it will then highlight all phones that have got Bluetooth coverage. You would select your phone. It will ask you if a code is correct, which you press pair, and then it'll ask if you want to sync your contacts, and then you just press allow. With navigation, if you want to enter a destination, you would press confirm, enter address. You'll only have to press country on the first occasion. Select which country you're in, and then you can go to postal code, or you can select in a town. Each time you do this, it will narrow the options, and then you just press start. On the map, you can change the zoom on the map. You can go both in and out. You can also play around with direction as well. So if you drag it around, it will change the direction of which you are. Climate control settings are based just here. We have temperature for one side, temperature for the second side, and then we can press auto and sync if we want to make sure the temperatures are both the same. We can press and hold sync, and then we know that that's going to remain the same. We've got the fan speed here, so if we want to input exactly what's going in and out, that's how we would do that. We have got the information for where the airflow will travel to. So here we have feet, face and windscreen. We have heated seats for both sides, front windscreen demister, air recycling and rear windscreen. Air conditioning is on. If you press the button, that will switch it off, and this is aircon max. So if in the middle of the summer it's particularly hot, press the button and it will force very cold air out really quickly. On the centre console, we have a variety of buttons, some of which are dummy buttons, so if it doesn't have certain options or in certain markets, these will be blank. We have Sport and Sport Plus. This is to do with the Sport Chrono package, which you will see just here, and that is linked to the stopwatch on the dashboard. Sport will basically raise the responsiveness of the car. It will make the accelerator feel more sensitive, improve sensitivity by I think it's 25%, so thus giving you the feeling of more power. It will give, on certain cars, it will give you pre-brake feel. When you come off the accelerator very quickly, it will pre-apply pressure to the brake to close the distance between brake disc and brake pad. And it will also change gear mapping. It will hold on to a gear longer, and it will be more sensitive to throttle pressure to give you more immediate gear change. In Sport Plus, it will do that to an even greater degree. Sport Plus, in my opinion, is probably slightly more track focused because the revs are always really quite high, and effectively you're asking the car to give you its highest level of performance. You also have the active suspension button, which is just here. That can make the suspension firmer and softer, in essence. Traction control, which I recommend leaving on all the time. If, for example, you're on a track day and you wanted to switch traction control off, you can do. That way, if you did have any sort of lateral movement with the car, it won't be constantly nipping at the brakes and holding you back. As a safety feature, though, I'd recommend, certainly that it's left on, generally speaking. We have a button here which would allow you to operate the spoiler manually. This will operate the sports exhaust, and this is the auto start-stop function. It's always on, but if you press the button, it will switch it off. That's now off. What that will mean is that the car will not stop at traffic lights or in traffic congestion. The engine will always be running. We also have the blind operation for the sunroof. Here we can tilt it, and here we can slide it fully open. I have hazard warning lights, and this will lock the doors. On the steering wheel, we have got some controls on the stalks. So we have indicators, main beam on here. We then have cruise control down here. To engage it, you would press the button on the end. When you do that, you'll notice that we have that comes up on the instrument binnacle, and that would be where it would tell you which speed we're going at. You would push it away from you to increase the speed, towards you to decrease the speed, down will switch it off, and up will be to resume. You can also turn it off through pressing the accelerator or pressing the brake, or if it's a manual on the clutch. You have windscreen wipers on this stalk here, and then you have the information stalk here will change what information is displayed on the instrument binnacle, which is just here. On the instrument binnacle, you've got your usual information. You have the odometer here, including trip, an analog speedometer here, digital speedometer here, and then you have the rev counter. You can see the warning lights that you have, which are fairly standard. You've then got the information centre on the right hand side. Each time you move the stalk I showed you a short while ago, it will give you a different lot of information. On the satellite navigation, you can increase or decrease the zoom as you wish. Telephone, you can make calls, answer them if you need to. Audio station, you can change the station selected. When you're on your temperatures here, if you push the stalk away from you, it will give you a sub menu, and each time you select it, it will give you a different lot of information. So on here, it will give you messages, whether you might have a low pressure tyre, you might have low battery, or somebody might have tried to break a windscreen. That would be that would feed through there, and it will also feed through to the Car Connect app if you have that connected as well. Oil measurement, speed limits here, and then settings. We can play around with quite a bit of stuff here. So you can play around date time, what the display looks like, lights and locking. We can change the way the car unlocks if we want all doors to unlock or just the driver's door. And we can change the way that the car locks as well. If we have electric folding mirrors, you can also select mirror retract. On the right hand side, you can see we also have here temperature and fuel levels. On the glove box, we've got some cup holders on here, which press the button in and then it will release the cup holders. You can change the size of the bottle or the cup that it's holding. One for each side, and you just close it. On the glove box, you've got a power point, and you've also got a USB point and an auxiliary jack point. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope you found that video useful.